Hello everyone and welcome back to another new album video. We are now on week 14 and this week we're taking a look at Cowboy Carter by Beyoncé. It just came out. Definitely getting into character for this one here. Got the cowboy hat on. Anyway, Cowboy Carter released March 29th, 2024. Some notable tracks off this album are Texas Hold'em, Ya Ya, Two Most Wanted, and 16 Carriages. It's an incredible album. Uh, Basically streamed it the moment it became available on Apple Music. Bought the digital version on Amazon and I've been listening to that. I think I've listened to the total album like 3 times at this point. It's an incredible album. I got some notes here about it, and we're just going to go through those, and we're just going to discuss kind of the album and just how amazing it is. So, like I said, released March 29th, 2024. This is Beyonce's 8th studio album. It was initially conceived in 2019, and she started doing the writing and recording process over the next 4 years. So 2020 to 2024 is when most of this stuff was getting recorded. A lot of the recordings actually predate Renaissance. So Renaissance came out in 2022, and Renaissance was actually the first full Beyonce album that I listened to. I had a big enough familiarity with some of her single songs or just some individual tracks over the years, but I had never listened to a full Beyonce album until Renaissance, and I really enjoyed Renaissance. It's a great kind of just dance album. It is a little more in line with what I think she does normally, even though I think there is some genre changes in that one, but I don't think she's ever done a genre shift as kind of drastic as this, going from kind of dance music, R&B, kind of soul music, right into full-on country music. It's definitely a huge, huge departure from what she does normally, and I've loved every second of it. When she announced the album at the Super Bowl, or during the Super Bowl commercials or whatever it was, they put out 2 singles. They did 16 Carriages and Texas Hold'em. And I was like, okay, so is this going to be a full-on Beyonce country album? Because I'm definitely here for it if it is. And turned out that it totally is. There's a few tracks where it's maybe a little bit less country, but for the most part, it's a country album. And like I said, I've absolutely just enjoyed the hell out of this album. It's probably, at least so far, there's a lot of year left, but out of the albums that have come out this year, it's easily my album of the year at this time. We have a lot more music to come out, though. I know Lana Del Rey is also doing the country album, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But this sets the bar, in my opinion, for album of the year very, very high. I don't know any other albums coming out that I can think of that are going to be as good as this, but I'm definitely going to be listening to all of them. And when the Grammys come around next year, like I did this year, I'll listen to all the album of the year nominees. But right now, this is kind of at the very top of that list for me. Let's see here. Like I said, predated Renaissance. She throws other genres into this, such as folk music, soul music. There's some hip hop in there. There's some blues, and so on. There's a kind of a running theme throughout the album of a kind of fictional country music station. It's KNTRY Country, and there's these little interstitial bits where various DJs will, talk about some of the music and then introduce the next songs. And some of those DJs include Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, and Linda Martell. Wasn't really familiar with Linda Martell until this album came out, and I actually listened to a Linda Martell album earlier today, and it's actually she's actually very good. But it definitely pays homage to some of the kind of country music pioneers, such as Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, Linda Martell, and so on. There's some excellent covers on the album. She covers Jolene by Dolly Parton. She covers Blackbird by the Beatles. Totally makes those covers her own as well, which is really good. Came out to basic critical acclaim. I'm going to actually pull up some of the quick reviews here about the album, just some quick album scores. I'm going to go over them here. So it looks like Metacritic has it at a 93 out of 100. AllMusic has it at a 4 out of 5. Daily Telegraph gives it a 5 out of 5. The Guardian gives it a 4 out of 5. You have a 4.8 out of 5 from Hip Hop DX. The Independent gives it a 5 out of 5. The Irish Times gives it a 4 out of 5. Pitchfork gives it an 8.4 out of 10. Rolling Stone gave it a 5 out of 5, and the Times gave it a 4 out of 5. So definitely some very good reviews critically. There's a really cool Rolling Stone quote I'm going to bring up. I don't really particularly like I don't think Rolling Stone has been particularly good for a while, but this little kind of snippet I'm going to read it kind of describes perfectly the album and the praise that it's getting. So let me just bring that up here. Okay, so I'm going to just read this kind of verbatim from Rolling Stone. It says, Beyonce's point is made crystal clear by the time she reaches Ahmed. That's a track. She is country and has always been country. There's no doubting that no doubting that. Gatekeepers be damned. Her latest is a history textbook, making her case from track to track. But Cowboy Carter's greatest gift is its self-indulgence. When Beyonce plays against typecasting and the rules made for her, and sometimes by her, given that working on this album predated her making Renaissance, it's clear that exploring her southern roots and the parameters of who she was expected to be allowed her a creative freedom that she would take even further with the incandescent dance anthems of the trilogy's first act, Renaissance being that one. It feels like after over 2 decades of being a performer, we are just getting to meet Beyonce for the first time through these albums. When she asks, "Can you hear me?" on American Requiem, the answer more than ever is loud and clear. So, definitely takes a lot of risks. Like I said, it's kind of like meeting Beyonce for the first time because it's such a departure from what she's done before, or maybe even what record labels maybe even allowed her to do. So kind of these rules that were established, kind of in the little clip I just read, rules that were for her, and even sometimes breaking her own rules in making this album. And I feel like this is one of the albums, an album that we get once in a blue moon. I don't think we get albums like this every day. So it's definitely worth listening to. I highly recommend checking it out. We still got a little bit more to go here. So Beyonce is from Houston, and some of my research for this video showed that she grew up listening to country music, grew up going to the rodeo, grew up doing kind of all these kind of country music, southern traditions, and then kind of when her and Destiny's Child came up, they were labeled as an R&B act, and were probably don't want to say dissuaded from doing country, but they were probably kind of maybe pigeonholed into that genre for a while. And just in that Rolling Stone little thing I read, it's kind of her going against typecasting and kind of just doing what she wants to do and kind of embracing this kind of country music. But she's embracing it in such a way where she's still making it unique to her. There's several tracks on the album that we'll get to when we get to the track listing that kind of have country elements, but they also have just straight up Beyonce elements as well. I remember there was a quote, I don't know if it was from Beyonce, but when it came out, somebody was asking if it's a country album, and I think somebody was saying, well, it's a Beyonce album. So there is country elements to it throughout the entire album, but also there's just stuff that she throws in there that is kind of trademark Beyonce music. So it's quite excellent. Let's see here. This is apparently, when it came out, the most streamed album in a single day on Spotify. That's a pretty good achievement there. And we're going to get into the track listing. And there's a lot of collaborators and other people working on this album. I can't list them all because there's just a ton. But there's a lot of duets and her bringing in other country music kind of legends like Willie Nelson. He doesn't sing on any of the songs, I don't think, but he does the kind of the interstitial radio bits. And Dolly Parton does one of them as well. But let's go ahead and bring up our track list here. And the album is quite long, so 27 tracks, comes in at 79 minutes, so it almost a little less, so basically close to 80 minutes. I remember when I downloaded the album from Amazon, purchased it there, and was going to burn it through iTunes, and it's hey, this album is too long to fit on a CD. So I had to delete one of the little interstitial 20-second bits to get it to all fit on a CD. So you're looking at an hour and 19 minutes total on this album across 27 tracks. Track 1 is American Requiem. Like John Batista's on there as well as just a ton of different like the amount of people working on this album is pretty intense. So track one is American Requiem. Track two is Blackbird, which is again the Paul McCartney, John Lennon Beatles cover. Brittany Spencer and Rihanna Roberts and Tanner Adele and Tierra Kennedy are also on that. So just a lot of other singers. Track three is 16 Carriages. Track four is Protector, which is features Ruby Carter as well. Track five is My Rose. Track six is Smoke Hour Willie Nelson, and that's with Willie Nelson. That's one of the little interstitial like radio bits. That's like 50 seconds long. Track seven is Texas Hold'em. Track eight is Bodyguard. Track nine is Dolly P. It's another little interstitial bit with Beyonce and Dolly Parton. Track 10 is Jolene, and Beyonce does an amazing cover of the Dolly Parton classic on that one. Track 11 is Daughter. Track 12 is Spaghetti. This is probably the least country song on the album, and it even has this little cool inner bit in the beginning with Linda Martell where she's talking about genres and how like genres can be confining and how they're a silly little concept. But she mentioned snapping her fingers like Thanos in this one. It's got Swizz Beatz on the in the producing credits as this one. So yeah, Spaghetti is probably like the least country album on there. It's got like hip hop elements. It's really crazy. Track 13 is Alligator Tears. I really like that one. Track 15 is Just for Fun. That features Willie Jones. In track 16, we get to Two Most Wanted, which is a duet between Beyonce and Miley Cyrus. That's probably one of the standouts on the album. Track 17 is Levi's Jeans, which is a duet with Post Malone. And I'm not even the biggest Post Malone fan, but he does a really good job on this this cover. Nile Rodgers also plays on this, so they're definitely kind of stacking the just like collaborators. But Levi's Jeans is really good, and like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Post Malone, but he does a really good job on the album too, on that track. Track 18 is Flamenco. Track 19 is the Linda Martell Show, which is a little interstitial bit with Linda Martell. Track 20 is Yaya, probably overall my favorite track on the album. It's like she's channeling almost like a Tina Turner-esque like style delivery, and it's a banger, absolute banger. Probably my favorite track on the album. It's definitely a track that I keep going back to more and more. Track 21 is Oh Louisiana. Track 22 is Desert Eagle. Track 23 is Riverdance with two eyes, of course, because it's all Act 2, basically. Track 24 is Two Hands to Heaven, another great one there. Track 25 is Tyrant, features Dolly Parton on that one as well. Track 26 is Sweet Honey Buckin', and that features Shabuzi, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then track 27, the final track, is Amen, and that is the end of the album. 27 tracks, like an hour and 19 minutes of just perfection, basically. It's, like I said, we don't get these albums, like, I feel, like, super often, and when we do, they're definitely worth just listening to and, like, taking it all in and just celebrating just how awesome this album is. This makes me super excited for whatever she's planning with Act 3, if that's going to be a departure, again, to maybe a genre she doesn't normally do. That's going to be really cool. Like I said, this right now is the front runner for my album of the year. It's absolute perfection in my opinion. No skips on this album. But I do find myself going back to Ya Ya again and again. I just think that song, probably my favorite track on the album. It's an absolute banger, and I think this is kind of like an instant classic. And I feel Beyonce Renaissance was really good. I think this actually is better than Renaissance in several ways. Just because I feel in Renaissance it was kind of genre she was already somewhat familiar with or known for doing, like dance music and stuff like that. And even elements of like hip hop and stuff like that. But this is just a complete departure from pretty much anything I think she's done up to this point. And I just feel she knocked it out of the park completely. That's gonna do it for this video. I just got to go back and probably listen to the album again now. Just talking about it's got me excited to listen to it all over again. But that's gonna do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.